little bit shorter if everyone gets to the grid a little bit earlier. There you go. We've got 1 hour on the clock. We've got 31 cars getting ready to go racing here. They are away, we are green, and it is going to be Ferdinand Lexer trying to get his best start away from Ismail Yakubu. They all now start to scramble in the middle of this course because look how wide the track is. They're all going to go 4 wide almost up towards turn number 1 as they head in. It's 3 wide near the front as they all drive through.
Yes, Lechner with the lead though. Nearly 4 temps are already ahead of Yakubu, but there is a
But
long
it's 3
straight
wide,
here,
it's 3 wide, there's contact in the middle. Sorry about interrupting you there. There's big
no problem.
contact in the middle, but they've all held it together and everyone has remained going straight.
That's very good start for all drivers, very clean, but immediately Yakubu has closed that gap back into the braking zone for turn number 3, and they're starting to pull a little bit of a gap ahead of Sevagengas and Mur, who's got caught up in that 3rd position battle. They're going to go side by side through this very technical mid-section of the circuit. Looks like Mur is going to appear on top as he has the inside line.
Oh, there's a spinner at the back, there's a spinner at the rear.
That looks like
I think that might be Stephen Gallais. I think he's just spanned there. It's one of the Red Bulls.
Also
yeah,
around.
That is Joel Kuzmin around, and
Joel,
Jim Nobb's
right,
also back as well. So both of them now at the rear of the field on this opening lap, but they're getting back going again. They haven't lost too much time. Now we'll try to fight once more, but up at your front, it's very close between Robert Sevagengas behind Mur and Legales behind that as well.
Relatively clean start to the race, I think. Would you agree, guys?
Very clean start, of course, as we've only seen 2 cars go around. I think they really only went around by themselves. It didn't look like an incident for either of them facing the wrong way. But
first 2 already breaking away. Andres Meyer there over 2 seconds behind Ismail already. It's an unbelievable start for the 1st and 2nd. They're flying.
Manuel Alves has just dived up the inside of Patrick Fournier for P number 9, heading up through the penultimate turn, and now onto the pit straight, and that is lap number 1 over. It's Lechner leading the way ahead of Yakubu then, and it's quite close between the 2 of them, and I expect another battle like we had in Suzuka with those 2.
Andres Meyer there, under pressure from Robert. I'm not going to try to pronounce that surname, but they're coming into the corner there, and he's just on the right-hand side. He's on the inside, but it looks like Anders is just...
there's
contact.
Matt Legales has spun. Matt Legales has gone around, collected Ronnie Bowen by the look of it. No, who is he collected there? Someone else. Tobias Rona says, in the background.
Someone else has spun there.
That is Roy Magnus around, distracted by the smoke in front of him. But a big spin there. And was that DRS, did you say, that caused that? I don't think DRS was active at this point.
Yes, DRS is active after 1 lap.
Right, so
they tried to use it through the right-hander.
A bit too soon activating the DRS then, caused him to go around, and unfortunately collected.
It's got quite a bit of damage on the front of the car, looking at it as well. The front left has taken quite a hit. That's going to affect the performance there.
Being overtaken there by Andrew Harper as well, who's gone through. As it looks like
what do you do? Do you pit now, or do you just keep going?
I think he's going to keep going because pitting is not going to help his case. He's going to have to do that second stop. I think he's just going to stay out. In the background, though, we got that is going to be Jorge Fernandez diving up the inside of Tom Lombard, and through he goes up towards P number 15. And Fernandez also trying to get up now past Mike McGeer in that really blue machine. That is a really that just stands out quite a bit there, as they are running P14 and 15 at the moment. But that is a massive gaggle of cars in the midfield here.
Yes, and we now see at the front the DRS being used by Yakubu on the main straight, pulls out to the inside. Just having a look for now, but that gap has come down from nearly a second on lap 1 to just 3 tenths of a second. And now Yakubu's going to use this DRS for the second time. Now personally, when I tried this circuit, I couldn't get the DRS to work around this right-hander. However, it seems Yakubu has, and he's going to try and go around the outside of Lechner, down towards turn number 3, and he's going to have it before the corner, and Yakubu takes the lead here with 5 minutes gone.
And really nice onto the brakes as well, not even running wide, perfect racing line, and a really good overtake back into the lead, but Lechner is now going to be on it like a car bonnet to get back through.
I think that might have been Ollie McGowan there, just had a little bit of a contact, came off, and now he's back on. He's got down to 15th position.
Back up at your leaders then. It's still very, very close. 0.3 of a second. This gets very close under breakings there. Both of them pushing slightly off the circuit. They've got to be careful with track limits, but I don't think that corner is one you have to worry about.
No, in general, it does actually impede you slightly by running across that curb just because of how uneven the curbs are on this circuit. So if anything, it's probably going to hamper their racing line.
Ross Garland off the circuit. Unfortunately for him, he's falling down the order.
Jeremy Mook just spun there, now dropped down to 22nd position. Lots of little battles going around, and if you look at John Patterson in 10th, I know you mentioned a few laps ago, Joseph, there's a bit of a gaggle of cars, but he's pulled away after having a bit of a battle with Colin Herx. Colin can't quite keep up now, and Colin's dropped back to a second behind. But yeah, there's a lovely little. So hopefully John's going to catch up Toby in front in ninth, but time will tell.
Mook on the inside of Pietro Doll here. That's a battle for P number 21. Jeremy Mook actually getting into the event about, I think it was about an hour before official practice began.
Yeah.
So he's had limited practice time out there.
Yes, those two of the new drivers for this event, replacing some drivers who either could not make it or were ill, unfortunately, but those two having a nice little battle for 20th position, which still pays pretty good points. So every little position counts in this championship. Just 1 point between each champion in each position, so 36 for the win.
Just behind that as well, sorry, quickly, Bram Hingerveld being overtaken by Pietro Blasiak. You've also got Jim Nobbs on the inside trying to move up the order. They're extremely close in their battle for P number 22, and that's going to be Hingerveld trying to hold the outside line. Nobbs going to look for the inside, not going to be able to do anything there. They continue on through, just in front once more. Dole and Mook coming together ever so slightly, a little bit of a tap. But sorry to interrupt you as you're talking through the points. It's going to be back for the lead. Lechner's looked for the lead on Jacobu, couldn't quite do it. Tried the outside. He's extremely close now, all over the rear.
Yes, and one rule I think I've just remembered about DRS is that you can only use it for a certain number of laps in an event, so I believe it's limited to something like 10 laps. I don't know if that's a new rule for 2017 or if that applies to the 2016 cars as well, but certainly some drivers not using DRS when they could do, unless they're just choosing not to and using it in other places. That could be entirely true as well. And Lechner's spun. No, he's not. That was lag on my end. I thought he spun out in front of the corner on the DRS.
Got a good battle between 7th and 8th right now. Manuel Alves all over the back of Patrick Fournier. They were battling a couple of laps ago. I've been keeping an eye on this one, and Patrick had pulled away a little bit, but Manuel Alves is now catching up. He's 0.25 seconds behind him, and as they come into the first corner of the next lap. And no, he thought about making a move, but I think he's just going to sit behind him another lap. And I reckon in the next lap or two he'll try and challenge for 7th position.
We've got another move for the lead. Lechner trying to go round the outside of Yakubu using the DRS through turn number 2. Yakubu, though, unlike Lechner, able to hold the lead through there. Lechner's going to have in the outside, but is unable to use DRS through this section.
Oh, there's contact!
They touch slightly, but they both keep on going. Lechner's going to have the outside, but Yakubu on the inside should be able to hold it. They're going to run very close together. And Yakubu does hold it.
I don't know how Lechner was able to hold it on the outside for so long. That was fantastic by both of them there. A little bit of contact is a shame, but the fact that they've both kept it going, they haven't lost a lot of time, and that was an extremely great battle.
Yes, and of course Lechner has that DRS again. 3 times he can use it a lap, so judging by my counting, he's only used it once. He'll probably use it again coming out this section here, this hairpin left, hairpin right, and then a slight left to finish off the section. Yakubu slightly compromised on the inside line there, and Lechner's now got the DRS wide open as he heads towards the final right-hander. He's closing in very, very rapidly here under the slipstream of Yakubu. Yakubu defending the inside line, just that very little bit into the final corner. Lechner once again trying to go around the outside, but of course he'll have DRS for the 3rd time on the start-finish straight, and he's going to use it here towards turn number 1, just 2 tenths behind.
They are extremely close indeed for this battle. It's closing. It's about a 10th of a second. Out pulls Lechner, but Jacobu's going to try and move to that left-hand side to defend. Lechner's already through. Is he going to be able to hold it on the outside line? That's a very late break from Jacobu. There's contact, but they both held it straight. That is extremely lucky from both of them. But Jacobu now behind Lechner. He regains the lead. And that was, again, only 5 minutes in the lead for Jakobu, and they switched over once more.
Yes, and of course Jakobu has not got the DRS because Lechner was behind when they came over the start and finish line. So Lechner's got 3 stops.
Oh, Anderson, huge crash in the background. Huge crash. He's crashed out from 4th position. That is some heavy damage as well as he hit the wall. He's back on the circuit, down in P8. He was battling with Sebagangus and Ronnie Boehm, I believe.
Yes, and just in front of that, look at the battle between Alves and Fournier that Paul was referring to before.
Yeah,
meeting up here again.
On right now, yeah, you know, they're fighting away, those two. And now Anders is having to take part in that.
Yeah, I think it's more now Anders over the rear of Fournier than it is Fournier trying to get past Alves.
But Alves a lap ago was still behind Fournier, so that's happened when I was looking at the lead. So yeah, so Manuel Alves probably made that move a second ago. Yeah, it's great little battles all over the shop right now. It's hard to know where to focus right now.
Yeah, it's very true, and you can just see that just from our timing. We've got green means that drives are close together, and it's probably 2/3 of the field plus that are green to each other, and those top 2 though have separated just that little bit. Is Jakobu going to be within DRS?
On the inside of Patrick Fournier.
There's a little bit of a tap, but that's going to be a switchback from Fournier to try back onto the inside.
Oh, but no, Alves has made it. Well, he lost out, so Fournier lost out there to Anders, and now he's after Alves.
Well, Anders, well, we know he's good enough to get into that top 3. He was there during practice. He was there during, well, he's up in the top 5 during qualifying. We know he can get there, but that mistake that slammed into the wall, he's now going to have to fight some damage. Of course, this is full damage in this league. Oh, that was a big wobble as he closed the DRS just a little bit too late there.
Once more, the DRS using it through turn 2. I battled against it going through turn number 2 just because it's so difficult to control. Going through there, especially under the dirty air. Drives in front of Mur, gets very sideways trying to get the power on, and Patrick Fournier is going to say thank you very much and retakes that 7th position.
And back down Anders Mur.
What about people with damage? Obviously we saw Matt Legale earlier on have a little off. He's got Michael Klein right behind him in 16th at the moment, and just watching Matt as he came into one of the corners, he's just struggling for grip right now. I'm sure that the damage isn't helping there. I know that they're going to have a pit stop halfway through the race so that everybody can get some new rubber on. But yeah, Matt Legale under a little bit of pressure right now.
Ferdinand Lechner has been increasing his lead to Jakobu since he's got back up there. Not by much. It's about half a second when they're on the straight, but that's wide, and Jakobu already up the inside. Where the hell did that come from? I don't know, but Jakobu is going on the attack somewhere. He was able to get the better run, and through he goes. Lechner, not a good turn through that final right-hander.
In fact, he slowed on the way into the corner, which is very unusual indeed, and he's lost about, even on the straights into the slipstream, he's lost another half a second here.
That may be a strategy call. He may have decided to drop behind because now he's got the DRS. He's got the upper hand on Jakobu. He can decide when to go for the overtake. He can decide when to pressure Jakobu instead of being the one who's getting pressured, instead of being the one who's constantly focusing on their rearview mirror. That may have been a strategy decision from Lechner to give himself a slight advantage by sitting into second.
And in addition to that, of course, one of the things that played out at Suzuka was that Jakobu followed Lechner into the pit lane. Of course, they were both aiming to go around the half-hour mark, of which we are quite a way away from. But if Lechner does decide that he wants to try the undercut or the overcut on Jakobu, he needs to be behind in order to know when he's going to pit. Having said that, they're going to go side by side at the moment through towards the end of sector 2, and Lechner's he's still challenging Jakobu, so he's not just sitting there, he is challenging Jakobu.
The battle between Patrick Fournier and Anders Meyer is taking another twist as Patrick got ahead, but now Anders has come right back at him and back into 7th again. These two, I was actually quite interested in the fact that Anders had got past a couple of laps ago, but I noticed that Patrick Fournier was sticking with him
Oh, and there's now gone up the inside of Ronnie Bawim, who's run wide as well and off the circuit, down a few positions as he gets back on.
Yeah, I was just saying, it just shows you that once you get past, it's not always easy to get away, especially with the DRS playing its part around here. There's a couple of long straights we can really put it into some good effect.
Pit window has now opened, so drivers can now come down pit lane for the mandatory stop, as that is a battle once again for the lead as Lechner tried to get around the outside of Jacobu out of turn number 1, couldn't quite do it. They're very close. Jacobu DRS was open there. Lechner, with DRS was open as they were coming over the hill. This is extremely close battle, less than 2 tenths between them. That's going to be defending from Jacobu into the next turn. Lechner once again on the outside line.
And the thing with Jacobu is he knows he can do that lap after lap and just hold it on the inside, and Lechner, there's no way he's going to be able to drive around the outside of him. So the only way that Lechner can get through is going up the inside, but the longer Jacobu stays on the inside, the longer Lechner is going to stay behind him. So it's going to be very difficult for Lechner now to get back through unless it's a strategic call in the pit lane, or with DRS, as we've seen, getting a very good run out of turn number 1 or the final corner and passing on the straights thereafter.
Yeah, it's not much of a final corner there. It's quite a nice little kink where you can really pick up some speed and keep the DRS open. It's probably the bit of the circuit where I believe you can get the fastest, the highest speed that comes, around the circuit, because the other DRS zones are kind of where you want to use it, aren't as long as that start-finish line. I had a bit of a practice on the circuit earlier on. It's a tough circuit. It's not easy. Actually, Joseph, you and I were talking before the race. I'm quite surprised how people have managed to keep it on the black stuff.
Yeah, we were talking earlier the fact that this is quite a difficult circuit, and we have seen a few people go off onto the grass, but I'm surprised we haven't seen more off at the moment. But we've still got quite a long way to go in this race. We're only 17 minutes in, so we've still got 43 minutes left on the clock, as that is a massive overtake for Lechner, and he's done it.
Lechner back through to the lead, so any remarks earlier about him doing it strategically are completely out the window, because he must have decided, yes, I've got the pace on Jacobu to pull away.
An unbelievable battle at the front. I mean, they're just chopping and changing every few laps. But I mean, if you were these two drivers, would you wait until the last minute to pit? I mean, the next car is 5-6 seconds up the road. They're not in probably any rush to get new tyres on, are they?
I think from what people have said, it's quite a difficult circuit on tyre wear, especially once the tyres start to overheat. So I wouldn't expect drivers to go much more than the 50-50 split, to be honest. However, we may see some different strategies play out during this race, especially if you're held up in traffic and you feel that you can stretch those tyres just that little bit longer. But for now, I would say that drivers probably preferring that 50-50 split strategy, not only because it's easier to manage, because you know how long you've had and you know how long you've got left, but also because a lot of other drivers will be using a similar strategy to you, and sometimes it is the driver that takes the alternate strategy that comes out on top, but the majority of the time it's the strategy that on paper is the fastest that is the fastest. So I'd say that the 50-50 split would be the most common. However, we may see some differing strategies during this race. I
think we will see different strategies because of tyre wear. So some drivers might find it a little bit more demanding and might go for the earlier stop because you've been pushing harder in that first stint. One of the drivers that we haven't really looked at this race but is doing extremely well is Robert Sebekangas, who sits in 3rd position. He is only 8 seconds off of that lead battle. He's over 10 seconds ahead of P number 4. He's really just in a race of his own right now, because he is involved in that battle, but like in that race, but he's not really anywhere near anyone. But he's just someone who's just getting on with his own race. He knows that he's on a good position. Yeah,
Darren behind is 12 seconds up the road. So this is, sometimes you have these moments in races where you're kind of like, you just got to keep your concentration and keep doing what you're doing, hit your braking points, accelerate at the right moment. Hit your apexes and just keep going. It's a bit like driving down a motorway. Sometimes you kind of just a little bit mimosas because you've got nothing else going on around you. But he's doing a great job there in 3rd position.
Got a good battle going on for 12th position. Matt Legale together with Tom Lombard and Patrick Fournier. Legale and Fournier were of course higher up just a few minutes ago, but both have fallen down recently. Legale of course finished in 5th position at round number 1, so he'll be looking to improve very much so from this position, and Fournier also was 9th I believe at round number 1. So
Tobias in 5th position then, just got off the circuit. He's gone wide on one of the corners, he's now dropped down to 8th, he's lost a few positions there. He was catching Darren Mann at that point. That's all gone wrong for him there.
Matt Legale tries the inside of Tom Lombard just in front of Patrick Fournier. We've got a fantastic view running on board with Patrick Fournier here. They're actually really close as well to Toby Ketterer just in front of that, so you can just see that the middle part of this field is very much a train. It's not just single battles. It's going to be Lombards and Ketterer side by side, but Ketterer slips in, looks towards the inside, can't do anything there. Matt Legale trying to take advantage of it as they come up towards the final turn now. He pulls out of slipstream, maybe looking for a faster run. Will it work?
He's got DRS, so he should have the advantage, plus he's got the slipstream from Lombards in front of him, and yes, quite a simple move in the end with the DRS to be able to get up the inside. It's very close in the braking zone. Ketterer almost into the back of it. Patterson up the inside of Fournier into turn number 1 just behind. Fournier having to defend through turn number 1, but Patterson of course with DRS now, as will Fournier. I believe he was just within 1 second
also
when they came across the start and finish line.
Anders Murr and Darren Mann side by side for P number 4 and P number 5. Anders Murr doing a fantastic run back up the order here following his earlier hits with the wall. He's still got heavy damage on that car, but he's running around strongly in P number 4 at the moment.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he can catch up with Robert there in 3rd. But have you noticed now that Ferdinand Lechner is pulling away slightly from Ismail Yakubu? Gap around about 2.5 seconds nearly. We saw this in Suzuka, if I remember rightly. And I think I listened to your commentary, Joseph, and you pointed out there was a bit of a gap. And next thing we know, Ismail came out of nowhere and closed it back up again. So are we seeing a repeat of the first race?
I'm not sure. I think the only thing that I can assume will pull back a 2.5 second gap like that will be the pit stops. If Yakubu's able to gain any time whatsoever during the pit stops and just get within a second, get that DRS back once more, the moment he gets the DRS back, he will be able to fight Lechner because he will be able to catch right up. It's just because he is out of that DRS range, and that is making it extremely difficult for him to keep up with Lechner's pace.
Yes, that is of course the good and the bad about DRS is that while you are in that 1 second, it's very simple to make an overtaking maneuver if you can get close to the driver, but when you're outside of it, it's sort of a negative because you've not got the DRS to help you, and in a way it'd be better if it was the other way around, where you had the DRS was given to you when you weren't a second away from the driver in front. But at the moment, Yakubu, that 2.5 seconds behind Lechner. He did this at round 1, and perhaps this is to do with tyre wear, or perhaps this is just Yakubu wanting to get into his own rhythm and letting Lechner do what he wants at the front, and as long as he can see him, he's got a chance to challenge at the end if he knows that he can push the pace further towards the end.
Yeah,
there's a battle going on between 6, 7, 8 and 9 right now.
That's what I was going to say.
Straight, yeah. Unbelievable.
Tobias Verona was able to hold around the outside of Manuel Alvarez there after getting up to P number 7, able to defend on that line. Jorge Fernandez just behind Alvarez now, maybe looking to get up into P number 8. But yeah, that middle train at the moment from, what, 5th all the way down to pretty much, I'd say 10th, maybe 9th. Very close indeed.
I think we saw that in qualifying though. Like I said, we see these pockets of very similarly timed drivers, I guess, putting in very similar lap times and keeping it close. And as soon as you make a mistake, there's someone there to take the opportunity, as Ronnie Bone there just sort of, I think, breaks it to the tight left and kind of the car shimmied a little. So now he's got Tobias all over the back of him.
Tobias, of course, with DRS, so should be able to close it relatively quickly. As you can see on the timing, and moves the inside line relatively early. Boehm will know he's there, but Rowan this time round not quite close enough. However, Boehm forced onto the outside. Darren Mann there struggling. He was in 3rd and 4th position at one point, but he's now dropped back to 5th. And he's now in the clutches of Boehm and Rona, and with Boehm now with the DRS.
Ismail pitted, I believe.
Yes, he has. He's certainly not on track anymore.
Already?
Yeah, so he's just dropped down to 11th position now. So he's gone in early. So does that hand the advantage over to Leicester as he comes into traffic and is behind Tom Lombard? So I don't know how you pronounce
Tom Lombard. Do you know what? No. I actually think that this is going to play into Jacobu's advantage. I mean, fine, he's got traffic to contend with, but pitting early, he was losing time on those tyres running behind Lechner. And going out onto the circuit, I think that is very wide line, and he's really having the fight to get past Lombard here. But I think that if he can disperse this traffic quickly, I think it's going to play in his advantage. But if Lechner comes down and within the next few laps, he's still going to have to fight past some of these drivers as well. It's going to be whether Lechner waits until the very last possible moment where he knows he's not going to get caught up in any traffic. But a massive dive there from Jacobu to try and get up the inside of Lombards, and he is now through up into P number 10, the only driver yet to do his mandatory stop in your top 20. We of course
Ferdinand comes into the pit, he's in.
So
he's already in.
So he's So he's obviously saw that that Jacobu's come down pit lane and thought, do you know what, I'm going to do the same. But that's going to place him into traffic as well. Is that also is Angus by the look of it coming down pit lane? No, that's Anders. Who is that? Is that? That's Van Hengevel. Van Hengevel down pit lane. It's Robert Savagangas into the lead of the race.
Where is Jacobu? Jacobu is coming through the final corner. He's got a lot of traffic in front of him.
Yeah, Ferdinand's just come out of the pits now, so he's just exiting now.
But he's got to get up to speed.
Position. Yeah, he's got to get up to speed, but... Wow.
Yeah, it looks like...
He's still in 2nd position, because I think a lot of the cars have pitted, so he's got Tobias Rona behind him, and he's in 2nd position. He's 17.5 seconds nearly behind Robert in 1st, so... that's gone extremely well for him, you've got to say.
Yeah, that has gone extremely well. And between now Lechner and Jacobu, it's 5 seconds between them. So Jacobu has lost like 3 seconds within that pit stop, and he is still behind all of this traffic that Lechner has been able to jump.
I mean, sometimes you just need a bit of luck, and I think the gods are shining on Ferdinand there. Oh, unbelievable. How's your luck? That's a Marcus Schumacher one there, isn't it?
It's either complete luck, or he's judged that to perfection and noticed that that gap is the perfect amount, so he can just jump in at that moment and just be there, right there in front of them, instead of in this battle as Jacobu is now. And you can see him losing time as Legale goes for a move around the outside. He's just losing time, hand over fist, to Lechner in front of him.
It'll be interesting that, you know, he must have felt that he needed to hit, you know. The car didn't look that bad, but maybe he felt he didn't take a gamble. You know, was he losing that much grip that he felt he needed to pit? Fortunately, you know, it hasn't worked out for him in this particular instance. But and he's got a bit of contact there behind him from Matt Legale. It looked like a little bit of contact, but he's kept it on the road. But yeah, I mean, time will tell. But this is now surely got to be Ferdinand Lechner's race. I can't.
It is, because he has lost about, what is it, looking at the time now, Lechner's just gone into the lead because Savagangas has come down pit lane, but Jacobu has lost 2 seconds on that 1 lap alone, just being held up behind this traffic.
The only thing I could think is that Jacobu wanted to force Lechner onto the new set of tyres, knowing perhaps that Lechner's not got as good tyre wear as we saw at Suzuka, with Jacobu catching him in the latter portions of the race. Perhaps he's thinking, if I can push Lechner so he has to go 35 minutes on 1 set of tyres, and I can easily do that, perhaps Lechner doesn't quite have the tyre wear in hand to do that.
Jacobu now making a move, trying to make a move onto Ronnie into 2nd position, and he's just, he's made it stick. So he did Manuel Alves and Ronnie Bone there in a matter of a couple of corners, so he's picking up the pace. But yeah, going back to your point, but he's been stuck behind traffic, and that's going to affect your downforce. Surely it's going to affect your tyre wear. I don't know. He's now 8 seconds behind Ferdinand Lechner, but that's a lot of time to make up. I mean, I know there is still 30 minutes to go, but we shall see.
But as Peter was saying, that Lexner, yeah, he certainly was slowing down near the end of the stint during Suzuka at both the first and second stints, and it did allow Jacobu to really get involved and start to fight. So we may see that if Jacobu can start to close that gap, and we'll see what sort of gap it's able to hold. And I don't know what we're going to be able to see here, whether Jacobu is going to be able to close up, because both those drivers have very similar pace, and it's normally about the middle of the stint where Lexner is able to really shine on his set of tyres and start to pull away. I think that's what we're going to see again, but then it's near the end of the stint. Jacobu, he's able to control his tyres a little bit more, and that may be why he's slower in the middle stint, but he is able to go faster at the end. But will he be able to go fast enough to close what is now a rather large gap?
Manuel Alves is into the pits from 6th position. He'll drop back accordingly. So is Omi Kone's Kerdera. He's coming now. Lots of cars are coming in the pits.
Oh, yeah. Steve Legale also down pit lane. Toby Kerdera, yeah. We got Paul Fenwick also down. Jeremy Moog.
Yeah.
Of course, this is part of the exactly half and half split, of course, just over halfway through this race. So
not only that, all of these drivers are actually running together during their time on track. So they've all come in because the first person has probably decided, I'm going to go pit, and everyone's dived down with them.
Yeah, rather than do something different and stick it out and maybe get a bit of clean air for one lap. But yeah, they've all dived in, as you say. So they probably all would have come out in a very similar order as to how they entered the pits. So.
And I've noted as well that while Jacobu did pass Boehm and Alves did lose a lot of time on that lap. Of course, Boehm was right with Jacobu. He's now 10 seconds behind. So whether that is part of the tyre wear or whether it's just because they were battling so much, is only time will tell. But Boehm, you've got to think, has got to come in on that lap, considering he's got Severgengas and Patterson both with him.
Well, Patterson's not actually come down pit lane yet. He's still got to come down pit lane. Within our top 10, it is Boehm, Patterson and Vlasisak who are yet to do their pits. The other guys all have done their mandatory stop within your top 10.
We've got a retirement in John Sousa. Is that a retirement there in kind of?
Yes, it is. That is a retirement from John Sousa, and actually he retired from the opening round as well. That's two retirements.
On one of my cameras, I saw a car go off, but I didn't quite see who it was, and then next thing he appeared. So I'm gonna use my Sherlock senses here and say that it was this man, John Sousa, but I could be wrong.
It's a real shame though for the retirement from John. 2 in a row now, and let's hope he can get it together. 6 rounds, of course, in this championship, unlike the 4 that we saw in the GTs not too long ago. So it's a little bit more racing to come. So if you had a couple of retirements, it's not too bad. But because of how many points you're losing out and how little points there are between positions, you really don't want to be retiring a single race. That's a real shame for him.
Manuel Alves going strong in 10th position, all over the back of Roy Magnus right now, making a move into the first corner, and he makes it stick on the inside. So now up into 9th position.
Magnus is one of 3 drivers, one of 4 drivers yet to come down pit lane for their mandatory stop. So I think that's why he almost let Alves through quite easily there. He's not really able to defend too hard on these tyres, but I think he's pushing them as long as he can possibly go. So then he has those fresher tyres come the end of the race.
Yeah, but he's not meeting the, as you saw there behind Alves, he's not making the apex of the corner. So, you know, I think it's just damaging his race. He should be in all by now.
Oh, certainly. I saw it in the GPC last season, last year. So not that what am I trying to say? Last week. Yeah, I saw it in the GPC last week when I was out on circuit. I thought I'm going to push these tyres as far as I can go, try the one stop, and it just didn't work out. I was losing more time than I would have done if I'd done just an additional pit stop. So is it going to work out for him? I'm not too sure. He's falling down the order quite rapidly here.
And he's got Darren Mann now really close to him in 11th position. So and Darren has already pitted. So again, you know, I'd expect it to just be an easy manoeuvre at some point. You know, potentially using the DRS to get past. So yeah, you know, I think it's pushing it to the limit. You know, it is hard. I mean, you want to try something different, but I can't see that working out for Roy.
Man over the crest behind Magnus. They come up now towards the final few turns, and onto the inside he goes. Nice and easy up the inside, and through he goes. Surely we'll see Rog Magnus decide to come down pit lane this time, because he is just losing so much time. Because here goes Jorge Fernandez to his own. Yes, down pit lane. Roy Magnus comes.
So looking at the screen right now, guys, I mean, I would, there's not as many close battles as we had before the pit stop. So the pit stops has really created a different chapter of this race. So, you know, maybe it will allow some of the drivers, like the likes of Steve Lagallo, who's currently 2.5 seconds behind Toby Killer, to kind of maybe get a bit of pace and close those gaps up.
Back at your leaders, it's now over 10 seconds between Lecter and Jakobi. Jakobi is not able to get on it, and even since he's come into clean air, got past all the people who have now done their pit stops, he's just not able to really keep up to pace with Lecter, who's really once again going into a league of his own in this race.
Yes, and as you've seen from these last couple of laps, that 2 or 3 extra seconds is just damaging Yakubu's race at the end even more. Perhaps he's thinking, I'll need to stretch these tyres out because I did that a little bit earlier. However, Lechner's not thinking that. Perhaps Lechner's thinking they need to get a gap before before the tyre war hits, and I've got to slow down just because my tyres are damaged to the point where they're not going to run anymore. But at the moment, Yakubu certainly not withholding the battle to Lechner as we thought he would prior to the race. However, strategies I think have worked out very differently to how I expected. I expected at least for Yakubu to wait for these lower drivers to pit before he came out in traffic, which I think has damaged his race, and that is what has made the difference tonight.
Yeah, it's a real shame, because last race, you know, like you say, Ismail came back at him towards the latter part of the race at Suzuka, and now we're talking 11-second gap. I don't think any of us predicted that would happen, and it must be frustrating for Ismail, but there's always the next race to focus on after this one. You've just got to remain calm, and you never know. You know, Lechner may make a mistake at any moment, so you've just got to be ready to pounce.
It's the next round, of course, move to Portimao, another circuit the DTM don't normally race at. In fact, all 6 circuits not usually raced at by DTM. We've got Portimao, and then we head into the end of February. We have round to Indianapolis, then Spa, and then we end with the full Nordschleife, which I think should be incredibly interesting. We've got Jorge Fernandez and Darren Mann side by side for 10th position. Jorge Fernandez not quite able to get through the Audi and the Mercedes battling here for the top 10. Mann finished in 8th position at round 1, so not quite as high up as he was there, but certainly holding up his own in this little battle.
Yeah, Fernandez having to come off the throttle a little bit there through the exit of the right hand. It looks like he started to slide the car, so maybe pushing it a little bit too hard behind Mann here. But they're very close in this battle for a top 10, which would be a great achievement with over 30 cars starting the race.
Yeah, well, one where he can't come off the throttle there, that's the one I was telling you when I was practicing. That was the one that I was struggling in, because you kind of come over, you can kind of go like a little bit of a right and then a left, and you're trying to gauge the wind, but the next thing you know, as you come over that left, you've got a bit of a braking point, and I kept locking up at that particular point, so I had to kind of like step it, like change my braking point to get. So it's a hard corner to get right there, let alone do it on your own, let alone following another car. But Jorge's all over the rear of him, and I'm sure he'll get past in the next lap or two.
Okay, he's got DRS at the moment, so that Mercedes will have the upper hand on the start-finish straight. The Audi is going to defend slightly all the way to the inside. Hernandez is going to be forced. They're going to rub tyres slightly and rub side panels, but Fernandez does get through. He runs slightly wide on the apex, but looks like he's going to open that DRS and once again escape from the Audi as they head towards turn number 2.
Darren Mann there got a bit of a bet, got quite a good exit out of that first corner. Potentially thought about making another move on him, but as you say, Jorge Fernandez I think had the DRS for the next straight, so used that wisely to defend. But Darren Mann's not going anywhere though. They're coming to the left-hander. Just take a little bit of a look there. It would be a hard corner to make a move on that particular one. As we come into more of the slower section, again, but down there, a little bit of a slide behind. Now he's on the, he keeps switch on him a little, and now the tight left, and gets a good exit. It's another lovely, quite a fast left here over the bridge as they come over. And then you kind of, it's quite unusual to have a track like this, like elevated, but two elevated sections as you come into the slow section. Where I found second gear here, but they may be using third. I think you can kind of use any of them, but great drive for the most of it. As Slovakia seems to be developing a bit of a lead over him now, pulling away slightly. So maybe that's the end of that battle, but we shall see.
Looking at it, John Sauter told that his wheel was not working, which is what forced his retirement, unfortunately. And Blasicek has also gone out of the race, but behind John Sauter, so I believe that's a disqualification for Piotr Blasicek.
Which would possibly imply that he's run off the track somewhere and gained a huge advantage, because that can happen. You can get a drive-through, but if you do it more than once, I believe it's a disqualification. So possibly something along that lines.
We've seen disqualifications for other things as well in previous runnings, mainly the GT Championship. We saw disqualification. I believe it was for speeding into the pit lane, and something to do with speeding into the pit lane, and it just immediately disqualified him. It may have been that he didn't serve a penalty that he was given. Not too sure, but very possibly it could just be that he's decided to cut the corner one too many times.
Yes, I also just saw Stephen Gibb off the circuit. Not sure if that's at his own accord or through the fault of another person, but he's into the pit lane now, so obviously having troubles in that number 84 Mercedes, currently running in 29th, the last of the runners on this circuit.
Sorry, Joel there making a move in, trying to gain 17th position from Ross Garland, and he's made the move stick. But Ross is coming back at him, just trying to take the outside line. That's not going to work through there, Ross. And Joel, yeah, up into 17th position nicely there. There's not a lot of battles around the circuit right now, are there, guys? There's maybe Darren Mann behind Jorge there. You've got Ross and Joel. And then you've got Paul Fenwick and Roy Magnus. Kind of, as I said earlier on, the pits have changed the look of this race entirely.
Ooh, slight slide there from Roy Magnus outside, out of the infield hairpin, and that might give Fenwick that little opportunity to ease down into the next series of corners. He's closer now than he has been over the last couple of laps, and he's, of course, within the DRS range, so of course he can use that when they get to the next straight, which I'm sure he will do. And as they come onto this straight, you can see him opening up the power as they go over the bridge, and in fact he's not used it, so in fact now he has, so it implies that he was behind at the start of the lap and will continue to be behind for the rest of this lap, but will once again get DRS as he is within 1 second, as Darren Mann looking for the outside of Jorge Fernandez. So Mann was overtaken a few laps ago by Hernandez, but now he's going to try once more.
If you take a look at the front of Roy Magnus' car, he's got a bit of damage on the front right.
Sorry, Darren Mann on the inside of Jorge Fernandez. Sorry to interrupt you there, but they are now side by side for P number 10. They remain side by side, Mann on the outside, but through he goes up into the top 10. Jorge Fernandez backs down, and he is still looking very aggressive to get back up the order here. Back down to P number 11 now, but he's looking for P number 10 once more.
Paul Fenwick still chasing down Roy Magnus. Like I said, he's got a bit of damage, but it looks like Roy and Paul there are potentially catching Ollie McGowan up ahead. And that's also a bit of a battle there. Ollie McGowan and Jeremy Mook up ahead of those two. So this could become a bit of a four-way battle in the next lap or two.
Yep, 45 minutes of the race has gone, so we are now into our final quarter of an hour. So these drivers, they'll definitely start to try and get onto it. Most of them will be going on to their second half of the tyre stint. Some of them have already been going for about 20 minutes. Notably, Lechner, Jacobu, they both came in about 5 minutes early, and we might be seeing something happen with those two come the final 10 minutes of this race when those tyres starts to go off for Lechner. but the gap is still increasing. It's now up to 13 seconds. That's just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, didn't expect that to happen. I thought Ismail would remain behind him for the for the whole hour, but unfortunately, if you've only just joined us, Ismail pitted early and put him into some traffic, and next to them pitted maybe a lap later, and as he came out into no traffic, it gave him a huge advantage. And as Ismail was losing 2 to 3 seconds a lap, trying to battle his way through.
Fernandez back up into a top 10 past Darren Mann there.
Yes, and that was a slight mistake from Mann into turn number 3, where I'm slightly wide on the exit as well as the entry, and that allowed Fernandez to get through on the inside.
Car, sorry, Paul Fenwick has come off the track there into the, I think, just out of the first corner of the track, and he's now into 22nd, and he was catching Ollie McGowan, so that's all gone wrong there as he loses another place now to Mike Gear. So Paul Fenwick has fallen to 23rd position.
Yeah, he has fallen down. That's a real shame, actually, that Paul did make that mistake. But you can see that is quite heavy damage on the left-hand side, the headlight out. It's certainly not as heavy as we've seen on, like, Matt Legale, for example, but that's still not great for him. One of the drivers that did have an incident early on was Anders Murr, and once he got into P number 4, we mentioned that he'll be starting to hunt down Robert Sevagangas. He's only been able to close down, I would say, about maybe 5 or 6 seconds, which sounds like a lot, but with 10 seconds still behind and about half of his stint still remaining, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get that podium, unfortunately.
It's very, very unlikely. As I put my attention, Ollie McGowan is still behind Jeremy Mook, about half a second behind, and still hunting him down to get him to try and get to 19th position. The Darren Mann and Jorge Fernandez battle is still going on. It feels like it's begun on the whole second part of this race, but and that's a battle between 10th and 11th position.
Yeah, but Ollie McGowan and Jeremy Mook very close, and in fact it's going to be out of turn number 1 up towards turn number 2. It's going to be McGowan. Tried the outside of Mook. Mook was able to hold it. Coming back onto the racing line, no, and look how close they are. McGowan now going up towards the outside line, up towards the hairpin. He's going to try to hold it as Mook's trying his hardest to defend. Side by side they go. And it's going to remain with Mook ahead in P number 19 at the moment. Ollie McGowan still in P number 20.
That was good driving by Jeremy there. Ollie McGowan had the DRS flap open, but he went on because the only way you're going to get round there is by taking the inside around that sweeping right-hander at the end of the straight. And Jeremy Mook just planted the car on the right-hand side and made it look easy, really. But Ollie McGowan I'm sure will come at him again in the later stages of this race.
And McGowan, of course, finished in 7th position at round 1, so perhaps a little bit further down than he expected to be, battling for the top 20 positions. Would probably prefer to be up there battling for the top 10, but still a very good showing from Jeremy Mook, considering he had very little practice from this round as well.
Great showing also for Matt Legale, who's been recovering from that early spin, of course. And he's currently battling with Tom Lombard. And we saw that actually last weekend. Matt Legale spun very early in the GPC, and he was able to fight all the way back up the order and get a respectable finishing position. It looks like he's going to be doing the exact same here today, as he's now under 0.3 of a second. He was over a second behind going onto this lap, but look how close they are battling for P number 6.
Yes, you can just see him closing visibly each corner just in the braking zone or turn in. And due to this very difficult double apex hairpin here, going slightly onto the outside curbing, and then this long, fast left-hander, which really is just about flat. And then you run out to the exit curb and over the bridge. The guy looking for the inside, and he's going to put his car there just to say hello, just to let Lombards know that he is there. Lombards well, he won't be too phased by that, but he will be phased once Legale gets onto the DRS now, and Lombard's going to stick to that inside, but Legale will have the upper hand with the DRS as they go down towards the final corner, and Legale does get through cleanly before the corner.
Yep, through goes the Galley. Here comes Lombard's back once more on the inside, but can't quite do anything. And through goes the number 12 machine up to P number 6. Now chasing down Tobias Rona, but it's 7.5 seconds between them. I don't think he's going to be able to close that much in just 10 minutes. In fact, we've only got 10 minutes left in this race now. This is absolutely flown by.
Got Darren Mann still chasing down Jorge Fernandez, and as that's happening, they're catching a back marker in Stephen Gibbs. So Stephen may have a part to play in this battle as they come down the start-finish straight.
Oh, big dive there, big dive on the inside from Fernandez. Very late braking, but was able to hold it on the line. I thought that he was just going to fly off, but that was a really great defending move from Fernandez to remain ahead of Mann.
Stephen Gibbs nicely gets out of the way of these two, allows them to pass without any problems whatsoever, allowing this battle to keep going as they come down into the next corner after the little straight there. Where did these guys finish in the last race?
Oh, sorry, John Patterson was chasing down just behind them, run off the circuit, and the gaps opened up, so that's unfortunate for him. He was almost involved in that.
Man finished 8th in the last race, so he's currently 11th. So,
and Jorge Fernandez in 10th, so they were very close in these positions where they were last time.
Yeah, definitely. But and John Patterson getting close behind these two as well now, so this could be quite interesting.
One thing I've noticed is Yakubu was around 12 seconds behind, now up to 16, 17 seconds behind, so I think any chances of getting to the lead are long gone now, because I don't think Lechner's made a single mistake in this race, whereas Yakubu, I've seen him slide a little bit and just not quite as composed as he was at Suzuka.
That could be a sign of frustration on his part, where it hasn't quite, with the pit stops haven't gone quite so bad. I mean, I'm sure you appreciate when you're racing, so it's very hard to keep calm when you make your own mistake, isn't it? And to remain focused and therefore not make any further mistakes, which I haven't been following Ismail that much.
Man, DRS open, chasing down to get past Jorge Fernandez on the outside. He's going to do it, but Fernandez is going to fly back through to try and get the inside line. They're side by side, going to leave more than enough room on the inside, does Man, but through he goes back into P number 10. But Fernandez all over the rear, heading up in towards turn number 2. They remain in line at the moment. The next breaking point is this hairpin, obviously, of turn number 3. They got Patterson not too far behind either, looking to take advantage of anything that comes out of these two in front. They head into the hairpin. It's a good breaking point. They're going to lane through, then down Man up to P number 10. Jorge Fernandez down to P11.
Into the clutches of John Patterson, as you say, who's very, very close there. A lovely little three-way going on here into the last 7 minutes of the race. Could be any slight mistake, and that's it. Jorge Fernandez loses another position. As John takes the braking point there very, very well. I don't know what happened to Jorge, but John just closed that gap up into that braking area there immensely. And as they come over one of the bridges and into the next left-hander, let's see if John will be able to make a move down the back straight.
And one thing I've noticed is that Lombards has retaken that position from Matt Legale. Legale now back down to 7th position. However, Legale will have the DRS now, as he is under 1 second behind Lombards as he go down towards turn number 1. Lombards, with that DRS out of the final corner from the previous lap, has been able to open up a little gap ahead of Legale, but Legale, very good line out of turn number 1, and now with the DRS open, we'll be able to close that gap back in towards turn number 3.
Yeah, and look at that. Look how close he's getting onto the rear. Defending from Lombards. Flies to the left-hand side of the circuit. Goes Legale. He's going to try that outside. Lombards pushing very wide indeed. No room for Legale to get that outside line. And they both run out, still in formation in P number 6 and 7. But Matt Legale now looking towards the left-hand side. Tries to switch across. Almost worked. Almost got his nose in, but unfortunately couldn't quite do it. They remain still in their position.
He tried this last time around, but once again unable to make it work for the second time. But Legale this time with the upper hand on the DRS down the back straight. So once they get out of this section, I would think that Legale will be very much looking for that move into the final corner. However, at the moment, remaining behind Lombard into this middle hairpin, currently all over the wheel tracks of the Mercedes in front of him. The two Mercedes battling here for 6th position with just over 5 minutes to go, and now Legale opens the DRS, and this is where he'll close up. It was 4/10 of a second as he came onto this straight. It's now down to nothing as Legale moves to the inside, and he will have the inside line for the final corner, and indeed does get through, as we have Michael Clean moving out of the way there. Very gentlemanly getting out of the way, obeying blue flags, and Legale is through into 6th position.
Less than 5 minutes left to go on the clock then, and Jakobu is still losing a little bit of time as it's increasing between 17 and 18 seconds still. This battle between number 6 and 7 still very close, but so is that battle for the final position in the top 10, with Jorge Fernandez ahead of Darren Mann. John Patterson not too far behind either.
Yeah, John Patterson now he's using the DRS as he comes down the start-finish straight. Can he make this move stick? And contact. And as John Patterson goes off, and don't really know what happened there. If that was a little bit of lag or...
No, I think Darren Mann just broke way too late, and he just went straight on and hit the rear part of John Patterson's car, but Mann has slowed down. Through goes Patterson.
Through goes Kedera, taking full advantage of that. 2 positions gained for Kedera through that section.
John Patterson is still over the rear of Kedera though, so he was trying to get his way back up the order. It's a shame that Mann did have that contact, but very gentlemanly that he did slow down. Not that you need to in a league event, of course, but it's very nice that he did so. As they now coming through the middle part of your course. We've only got about 3.5 minutes remaining in this race. That's where Lechner is on the circuit. I would have to say that that's only going to be 2 laps, maybe 3 if you're lucky.
Absolutely flown by this race, full of activity up and down the order today. It's been absolutely immense as John Patterson tries to keep up with Toby Kedena there. I think Toby's kind of pulled away a little bit with, as you say, probably just maybe 2 more laps to go.
Sorry, yeah, go on.
I've got to say that this circuit has produced much better racing than I thought it would, with the number of quick corners, mid to high speed corners. I thought it'd be somewhat of a trolley train going on in terms of the drivers just in single lines not able to overtake, but that's definitely not been the case. As Jorge Fernandez, he made a mistake. Fernandez has made a mistake.
Yeah, down behind Toby Kedera now, and side by side with John Patterson.
So almost in sympathy, Jorge Fernandez has dropped back towards this battle, and now Toby Kedera is into 10th position, getting through three positions on that lap.
Wonderboim is only about a second behind this battle as well, so with 2 minutes left on the clock, 2 laps pretty much still to go. These guys might actually have a 5-car battle going between them.
Which is extraordinary for this portion of the race.
But like you say, it is quite a technical track, so I think that's why towards the end of the hour people are potentially making mistakes because the tyre wear is coming into effect.
Patterson past Toby Kedera, so is Darren Mann on the outside, but Mann goes way too deep, gets it back on the circuit. Wonderboim now sees Darren Mann in front of him, can really get involved with that. John Patterson has also run off the circuit onto the grass. Through goes Toby Kedera once more. Jorge Fernandez pulling away. A move
on the inside. Unbelievable couple of sections. Unbelievable couple of corners there. So much activity going on this evening. Unbelievable race.
Wonderboim is definitely within this battle now, but Jorge Fernandez has definitely pulled away from the battle.
Yes, I think that's going to be the disadvantage for these last 4 in the battle, is that Kedera, while he was in that 10th position, has now dropped behind Fernandez, and Fernandez now with a bit of clean air behind him is able to break free a little bit. Boim taking some alternate lines as they go through this infield hairpin, trying to get the slipstream onto the back straight. Some drivers will have DRS, Patterson being one of them.
A little bit up ahead, a little bit of contact there between Matt Legale and Tom Roberts into the first corner as Tom's got the DRS into the second section there. He tries to go round the outside. camera angles, he has made it stick. So Matt Legale drops down to 7th position.
It's crazy last two laps of this race. We've got 26 seconds left on the clock, and Lexner's coming up through the final turn. That means he's coming up to his final lap, and that battle for 6th and 7th, the battle for 12th and, well, 11th all the way through to 14, they've still got 1.5 more laps to go in this race.
Yes, so this is not over yet between these lots.
Ronnie Byram and Toby Cudner, sorry, side by side there at one point, or was that maybe John Patterson, sorry. A couple, but you know, unbelievable scenes into the last, like you say, last lap and a half. These four here really battling: Darren Mann, John Patterson, Toby, and Ronnie.
I'm gonna have to say here now, Ferdinand Lechner is only about a straight behind them. He could catch up to them within this final lap for him. So this very possibly, depending on how much these guys slow each other down, be the last lap for them. But I doubt it, but it could be a chance.
A little bit of kissing there between Ronnie and Toby as they entered into the couple of the winding section. And Toby now in 13th. Sorry, Toby's just moving to 13th position, and Ronnie dropping down has got off the track. Actually, I missed that. So he's that's how that came about. He's dropped down into 14th position.
Toby Kettle, actually, I'm really surprised because he was all the way up in 10th once the guys in front of him all were making mistakes, and he's just fallen right back down again.
And Matt Legale all over the back of Tom Lombards there into the first corner. No, he hasn't. I don't think he's. Yes, he has. He's got DRS. The DRS is now open as he comes down the next straight into the second right-hand over the bump there.
But I'm going to have to quickly talk about Ferdinand Lechner, who's coming up for the final time to come up to the final two turns. He's coming up to the long right-hander. This is the penultimate turn for him. Ferdinand Lechner has absolutely been showing his worth in the second half of the race after being able to slowly pull away from Jacobu and then really taking advantage of the pit stops. He's going to come across the line. Ferdinand Lechner, 2 out of 2 for him so far, and he's won every single league event that has been run since November.
That's a statement.
As Ishmael now comes over towards the start-finish to cross the line in second position. He gives the car a little wiggle as he does.
And there's been some contact between Matt Legale and Tom Lombards. Lombards has dropped to 3 seconds behind the two. So either Lombards a mistake on his own trying to make a dive, or the contact between the two, as I previously mentioned. But Legale looks like he's secured that 6th position as Sevik Genghis now crosses the line for 3rd position.
And as Andres Meyer, coming across the line in 4th.
Yes, Tobias Ronan will round out that top 5.
But we've got a battle between Ronnie, Toby.
There's so many, all 3 of them, they're all 3 wide, and that's going to be Ronnie Bewima ahead of Toby Ketterer. John Patterson all the way behind that. What on earth happened there? Just saw them all side by side. There goes John Patterson around the outside of Toby Ketterer. So they remain side by side here. What on earth happened?
I'm not quite sure. I just sort of saw them were very close together and had a look, but they kind of, I think all 3 of them went to try and make the same corner. Well, that's not going to work. You know, the track isn't that wide. So, like, just... They're still battling, you know. They're still battling now all the way, and well, it looks like Toby just maybe let John pass there. Maybe he felt he impeded him. So it looks like Toby just let him pass there.
It definitely seems like Toby's not feeling confident on those tyres, because listen to him go through that final right-hander. Very weak on the right-hander there, but across the line it goes anyway, and that's the end of the race. We've only got a few more cars to come across the line now, and that is actually it. Ferdinand Lechner, your race winner, 18 seconds ahead of Ismail Yakubu with Sevik Angus. We didn't speak about him much, but he got onto 3rd. Anders Mer in 4th. Around the rest of the order, we got Tobias Verona, Matt Legale, Lombards, Fournier, Alvarez, and Fernandez got your 10th position in the end. We then had Mann, Beween, Patterson, Ketterer, Steve Legale, Kuzum, Nobbs, Moot, Garland, Magnus, McGowan, Fenwick, Herx, Klein, Dool, Harper, Hengeveld, Gibb. We got Sauter, a DNF, and Blasishak, a DSQ. What a race that was. Absolutely fantastic. It certainly opened up after the pit stop stages, but right at the end, it got interesting again. What a race. So with that then, are you guys looking forward to the rest of the season? That's only 2 rounds gone. We've still got 4 rounds to go, and they are some really good tracks heading our way.
Yes, and in addition to that, of course, you may think Yakubu's lost a lot of time to Lechner, and of course, he did lose a lot of time, but that's only 1 point he's lost. So he's now only 2 points behind Lechner after finishing second at round 1 as well. So it's not all lost for Lechner by any means.
No, I mean, it's just 1 point of, difference in each position, finishing position. But, we head to Portugal next. I don't know this particular track, but, if it could be as exciting as the first 2 races have been, then I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
Yeah, and that final round, I think, is one that pretty much everyone is going to be looking forward to massively. The Nordschleife. That's going to be a crazy, crazy race.
Oh, indeed, it's a great circuit with a lot of heritage, and yeah, it'll be and hopefully then the season isn't over by then. We don't want an F1 on our hands, do we? But and Spa, I'm sure, will throw up some great racing. These DTMs have amazing amount of grip. And I think they'll put that to great use around Spa, the race before that.
Oh yeah, absolutely agreed. And the drivers that are down there, they're all showing amazing skill, and that I think that even though that was not the best result in the sense of the gap between Lechner and Jacobu that Jacobu would have wanted, it's still a second position. Is still only 1 point between them. That means after the first 2 races, there are only 2 points difference between Jacobu and Lechner, with Lechner leading. So he's not out of this fight in any means, in any stretch of the imagination. And I think that if he can get on it for the next round and be able to beat Lechner, I think then we'll start to really see the championship form up. And if he can beat Lechner in the next 2 rounds, they'll be once again on equal points, heading into the 2 really amazing tracks of Spa and the Nordschleife, and that in itself is going to create some fantastic racing and really hopefully throw the championship into some disarray for us here in the commentary box and for those watching.
Yes, and one thing to add to that is that Yakubu runs in other leagues, and Lechner I'm not sure about. I've not certainly seen him in other leagues, but Yakubu certainly does, and they run regularly at Indianapolis and Spa, so 2 circuits he'll be very familiar with in these cars, so possibly an upper hand there in those 2 rounds for Yakubu. But Lechner, as we've seen, just come out of the woodwork and been the fastest everywhere he's been so far in our league since, as you said, November, so I think it's going to be very difficult for any other driver to stay competitive with him. But as we've seen, he can make a few mistakes, and he can be challenged, as we saw at round 1, so there's no reason it can't happen again.
If we look at the comparison between the track we just raced there and the next one, I mean, the next one's got more turns in it. So the Slovakiaring has got 14 turns in it. The Algarve International Circuit's got 17. So that may throw up some more curveballs and overtaking. I can't say I'm familiar with both tracks in particular, but I'll before the next race I'll do a little bit of running around the Algarve Circuit just to see what I think. But it's just interesting how we're not choosing the standard circuits. I like this. It kind of throws in, where, like you say, there are going to be those ones where people are particularly familiar with, but having a couple of curveballs like this can only help with the spectacle.
No, I absolutely agree with you there, and I do know Algarve. I've raced it a number of times, both in Race Room and in a variety of other simulators as well. It is a really good circuit, and I think that I've never actually raced these cars in particular around there, but I know the circuit's interesting. I know there's lots of overtaking locations, definitely compared to this circuit here. I think we're going to see an even larger fight for all positions, and I think that we're going to see that fight for the lead go all the way to the end, like we did at Suzuka, because I think it's a lot similar to Suzuka than it is to this circuit. There's so many more turns. It's a lot slower than this track is as well.
So do we think the tyre wear will be a problem there like it was there here today?
I don't think tyre wear will be as much of an issue. Definitely with the 50-50, the mandatory pit stop, you can easily run half an hour on the tyres at Algarve. I don't think it's going to be an issue like here or at Suzuka. And I say apart from probably Spa, this is probably going to be your easiest on the tyres. I think Spa is going to definitely be your easiest. I mean, there are some fast corners there, but because of the nature of these cars, I just don't think Spa is going to be too terrible on the tyres.
Do you agree with that, Paul? Peter, sorry.
You're Paul.
I am, yeah. Had a bit of a brain fart there. Peter, do you agree with that assessment?
I just don't think Peter's going to let us know.
Sorry, we're talking to me?
yes, we were, Peter. What do you think about like tyre wear over the rest of the season, specifically the next circuit, Algarve?
I've honestly no idea. Of course, a circuit with a lot of slower corners, of course, turn 3, 5, 7, 9. I think it's every odd corner is a slow corner on that circuit, by the sounds of it. But
yeah, the turn
certainly
6,
a lot more slow corners than here.
Vit looks like a nice tight one, but you know, not extreme, not as tight as what I think we've just experienced there. But time will tell once I jump in the sim and have a go myself, and I'll feed back my opinion. Not that I'm the quickest, but I do like to have a race round just to see what the driver is going to come up against.
Yep, I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are too. So we will be heading across to Algarve in 2 weeks' time, where I will be there once more. Hopefully joined with by Peter and Paul once more, because this was absolutely fantastic tonight, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you all for watching as well. I hope you have enjoyed. Hit that follow button to get notified when we go live. And if you want to support us, you can also subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much, and we shall see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.